I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. Yeah, we're in the middle of summertime. We're past the summer solstice, and this is one of those songs. This is one of those summer songs that just lives in my brain. The Rupert Holmes Escape song, also known as the Pina Colada song. Folks, it's a Wednesday show. You know what that means. We bring in my buddy, none other than Mr. Chris Shaffer. Yeah. So, Chris, you're obviously familiar with that song. You've heard it before.
Yeah, and in fact, if I don't recall incorrectly, you actually ended up trying a Pina Colada like a year or so ago, right?
No, I almost tried a Pina Colada. I'm still Pina Colada less in my life.
Was that the time that you ordered a drink and it took so long that you guys were ready to leave, or you had to leave?
Yeah, so we were, it was my nephew's wedding. You have a very good memory. It was my nephew's wedding.
Utterly worthless things. Nothing useful to anyone. But yeah.
I was in what's known as the Redneck Riviera, Destin, Florida, where people have more money than brains. And Serena and I were staying at this really cool place. And part of that thing, you know, there's like, you know, that part of the beach, even though it's not private beach, it's Destin, right? The hotel has service for the people. It's a very nice hotel, probably the best one there. Service where, you know, they'll come by and ask if you need something to drink or what have you. And Serena is always encouraging me to pretend I'm human. On vacation, I still go to the gym. I still stick to my diet. I do all the things. And she does too, right? Look, make no mistake, Serena Scott Thomas does not look the way she looks because she's naturally gifted and she looks that way. She looks that way at 60, almost 64 years old because she pays attention. She's up every morning at 5:30. She's at the gym at 6. She does all of her stuff. She works like an animal and she eats on point, right? But she knows that if I could go off the rails a little bit, then she feels like she can go off the rails a little bit. You see how that works? Misery.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it alone. I get that.
Yeah. Misery loves company. And folks, listen to what we're saying here because this is dynamics. You know, if you want to sit around and think I'm perfect or Serena's perfect, think again. This is the dynamics of what goes on. So, one thing leads to another, and she's like, the guy comes around, would you guys like something to drink? And Serena, I think, said, yeah, I'll take a soda water with lime. And it's because Serena doesn't drink alcohol. It's just not her thing, which is fine because I barely drink at all, right? So we're kind of meant for each other. And I said, you know what? I'm on the beach. There will never be a better time than right now for me to finally get my Pina Colada. And I even asked the guy, I said, does this come with an umbrella? He goes, we can make that happen. I went, okay. I want the Pina Colada. I want the little umbrella. I want the straw. I want the thing. I'm going to finally try one. And we had like another hour or so before we had to go because we're at a wedding. There were events coming. We had to go shower up and the whole thing. So we had like an hour or so. And the guy came back about 25 minutes later. He goes, I'm so sorry. We had this, that, and the other thing. I went, no rush, no problem. Well, by the time the drink came, he's showing up and we're leaving, right? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I went, you know what? I'm not going to have a drink. I'm sorry. I'll pay for it. I'm more than happy. No, this is our fault. You go. So I missed the Pina Colada by like 30 seconds. Right. And Serena's like, take it with you. It's like, no, that's not the idea of, if I was an alcoholic, I would take it with me. Right. I would need to have that alcohol going in my system. Besides, we're going to what do you call the rehearsal party, right? We're going to the rehearsal dinner. I'm sure there's going to be a beverage there. So I might as well enjoy whatever that beverage is going to be. I might as well enjoy it in a couple of hours or whatever. So I missed the pina colada once again. But there will be another pina colada. Well, there could be one of two pina colada moments. The first can come sooner than later. Because Stephen Crutchfield sent me 2 3-liter tins of olive oil. Sent them to me for free. That's right.
I'm trying to compute how this leads to a pina colada. I thought you were going to say 2 3-liter bottles of rum, and I was like, that's a lot of rum.
I got 2 3-liter cans of olive oil. And I mentioned that I was bragging about it on the podcast. And my neighbor Rob heard me talking about it. Guy lives right behind me, right? And he writes to me, he goes, hey, can I relieve you of one of those cans? I'm more than happy to pay you retail. I know you have a lot of it there. I'll just take one of those cans off your hands. And I wrote back and I said, I can't charge you for this. It was given to me, type of thing, right? I didn't tell him that. I just said, no, it's on me. But when I got to his house, his wife was there. And I said, Sarah, let Rob know I'm not taking payment for this because I didn't pay for it, right? I got it for free. It was scratch and dent, right? She goes, well, can we do anything? I went, tell Rob he owes me a drink. Now, I get the feeling Rob might know how to make a pina colada. So that, and I know he loves himself. Is pina colada done? It's done with rum, right? Is that?
Yeah, it's usually a light rum, coconut cream, pineapple, and maybe lime juice, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, I know he likes rum. So that's one option for my pina colada. The other option is, let me knock on wood a lot. I have Barbados booked again. Now, we've booked Barbados how many times, Chris? Do you know?
That's the 3rd time?
Maybe 4th. Like we had it booked and then COVID happened. That's how long it goes back. We were booked.
Like every year you book it and you're like, we're definitely going this year. And then all the airplanes fall out of the sky. You're like, we're not swimming to Barbados, love.
Literally everything Barbados, COVID. It's like, all right, we're going to next year. Serena's mom got sick. Okay, we're going to next year because her mom got better. Then her mom got sick. No, I think her mom died. Sorry.
2022, yeah.
So, now we're running back and forth to Europe, funerals and what have you. And then they don't just die once and over there. You go to the funeral with the family and then there's a memorial thing. You die a lot. You go to that. Folks, if you think it's cool to marry a European or someone outside of the country, take it from me and Chris. It's whenever family things happen, you got to go to where the family is. Right?
Yeah, small South American dictatorships or Northern European dictatorships. Either way, but you end up traveling a lot more than you would otherwise.
Yeah, right? and then Kristen
got
to England, and
is very different than a flight to Texas, right? Like it's not the same thing.
No, it's you got to go. You're going to another continent, right? So, and then the mother died, and then something else, and then Christmas, and then Kristen got married, and on and on and on. So our trip kept getting booted. I want to say it was at least 4 times.
Is this the 4th time?
Yeah, this might be the 5th.
The 5th scheduling.
Or it could be the 4th. I can't. I'm too depressed and embarrassed to even go through it in my head for real. So, and if you ask when was the last time Serena and I took a vacation, the answer is almost never. Right? When I was in LA, I was working like a crazy man. Our trips together were like going to Mammoth for the weekend to go skiing. She would convince me sometimes to go to like Santa Barbara, which is 90 minutes from her house. We would just go up the coast 90 minutes in order not so I can stop working for 5 minutes because I have this, people call it workaholic. I don't know what it is, but as you know, you get text and emails from me at what time of the morning, Chris?
Well, I'm not much better with it, but pretty much anytime you're awake, there's something going on.
Yeah, it could be 1 a.m, 2 a.m. I'm sending text.
I texted you at 4:45 yesterday, I think, because I was up. Yeah. Honestly, not that I'm trying to wake Vinnie up, but if I'm answering something or letting him know about something, he'll get it when he wakes up. And
Yeah,
you do the same thing with me.
My phone's not right next to the bed. When I leave the desk, I leave the phone somewhere else. Right. So yeah, that we've never really done real vacations. Even like when I go climbing with Coddington, that's me and Coddington, and then she'll go hang out with her sister somewhere. We never go anywhere together. So it's pretty exciting that hopefully this fall, coming to you this fall, we may be vacationing together.
It's a little depressing that you have it booked and you're like, we might be going on vacation just because you burned 3-4 times before on the same trip.
On the same trip. Well, yeah, she's been to Barbados a lot. I've never been to Barbados. I've been to a lot of Caribbean islands, not that one. And by the way, they could blindfold you and drop you on any of those islands, same island, pretty much. But she likes it there. And so, boom.
If it were me, Vin, I'd say save the Pina Colada for Barbados. They have some of the best rum on the planet there. So if you're going to do it.
Rob has some pretty good rum. I got to be honest. Like, I have one that I like. It's called Zacapa 21, I think. Zacapa something. It's got like a number next to it. But Rob came over with the rum one time and left the bottle with me. And I want to say it was even better than my Zacapa.
Okay, so Zacapa is Guatemalan rum aged in American whiskey barrels. That's why you like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else, you know. And as you know, I don't drink alcohol with any kind of mixers because it's just sugar. So the drink has to taste like something for me. That's why I like scotch, right? Because I could get some scotches that you could taste the oak barrel and the whatever in the thing. And rum can be that way too. If you go past like Captain Morgan, like, you know, you get into stuff that Rob shows up with, you know. Yeah. God only knows what Rob pays for these rums because they don't look cheap. The bottles don't look cheap.
I mean, in terms of cocktails, a Pina Colada is pretty clean. There's a little bit of pineapple in there, but that's the only thing. As long as they're making it
right, isn't it full of sugar?
So a real Pina Colada, and again, we're gonna offend all of the bartenders out there by saying what's real and what's not.
Right,
is essentially just pineapple, coconut cream, and rum. You can add lime to it, and there's variations on it. If you order it in a restaurant, they'll give you, you know, like coconut creamy or Malibu coconut rum or something. You know, like
there's going to be some kind of cane sugar or dextrose in it or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a real Pina Colada is fairly clean. I mean, in terms of cocktails.
Yeah. Well, I still haven't had one. I still haven't smoked a joint in my life or had an edible or any kind of, you know, marijuana. Still haven't done an illicit drug, and still haven't had a pina colada. You know,
some of those things are much further out on the list than a pina colada. But yeah.
So, Chris, I got something I want to tell you about, something I've done. I took a 30-some-odd year hiatus, and here I am. But before I do that, purevitaminclub.com. Purevitaminclub.com. Chris, everything, and I do mean everything, is in stock. Someone told me that he ordered his stuff and it came so fast, it was like Amazon. And I said, wait, did you order it on Amazon? Because you could buy Pure Vitamin Club stuff on Amazon. He goes, nope, I got it through your site, and it came 2 days later. We are rocking and rolling there. We got everything in stock. Everything is shipping on time. And we got some exciting stuff. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, you might want to go check out purevitaminclub.com, because we have some exciting stuff going on over at the site. So check it out. We are not sitting still. I didn't just take over this company. I'm taking it over and I'm changing it. There's change going on. So go check out purevitaminclub.com if you want any and all of the best vitamins on the planet. Chris, I decided to Peter Pan myself.
Not sure what that means. You mean become a boy again?
Yeah. Never grow old.
I like it.
You know, I remember when I was young, older people would say, oh, I can't do it anymore. I'm in my 40s. I think I was part of the first generation where they said, 40 was the new 30 or whatever, maybe the new 20. And then when I got to 50, they were saying 50 is the new 40. And now I'm over 60 and they're saying, oh, yeah. So I look around and I go, what makes us old? Right? And I could sit here and talk about, the telomeres in your body are getting shorter and our brain is rusting. And I could go through all the things to talk about how we're getting older. But we don't have to. And I decided to take a page out of Elaine LaLanne's book. I think she's still alive. She was alive last time I checked. She's
The
probably
last time we looked at it.
Elaine LaLanne, last time I checked about a year ago, was still skateboarding. And the woman's got to be 90-something years old. Her husband,
99.
She's 99, still with us. The woman is just a phenom. I wonder if she's still skateboarding at 99. And I see more of these older people, 85-year-olds still running, doing bodybuilding competition, doing stuff, crazy stuff. And I'm going, you know what? I don't know how long I'm going to live. None of us do. We all know our birthday. We just don't know our expiration date, right? But if I get caught living a long time, I want to keep my bearings about me. And as you know, I do things like I got that balance board right over here in my office, where I can see television. You know what I'm talking about? It's called the rock. You put the rock. What's that thing called? And
a balance board. Yeah. So you have it's like a tube with the board you put over it.
It's a wooden tube. They call that wooden tube the rock. And mine is beveled on each end so you can really, it's like an advanced one. I've had the same one for about 15, 20 years. And I spent time on it. Look, I never talk about it, but sometimes you and I are on the phone and I'm on that thing, right? You don't know I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm doing consults. I'm on that thing. Sometimes if I'm watching television at night, I'll get up and get on that thing. For how long? Could be 5 minutes, could be 25 minutes. Hell, I don't know. I just mess around with it until I get bored and I go away. It causes cognition. It causes eye, foot, and eye body core. Your body has to find its equilibrium on that thing to be able to stay on it without going, whoa, right? It's why I still ski, cross-country ski, downhill ski, what have you. Because once you give it up, it's hard to get back. And by the way, I used to ski a lot of days every year, like 30 some odd days a year. I don't get to do that anymore. Matter of fact, I haven't skied last year, right? But I want to get back into it, which means I'll probably have to start going up to Vermont or somewhere to get any kind of good skiing in.
Real snow.
Yeah, versus what we have around here, which would just piss me off because I'm used to big mountains out west. But I started thinking, it's like, you know what? I used to be a rollerblader. And every time I'm driving around here, I'm looking to see, I've been looking for about 2 years to see where I can rollerblade. It's like, everything kind of has a big slope. And the problem with a big slope is not being able to stop. If you don't know much about rollerblades, folks, I think Chris probably knows a bunch about them, but just for everyone else, if you have a big slope, 20 miles an hour becomes 45 miles an hour very fast. And if I'm doing this on the sidewalk on the 29, there's a sidewalk there. I look at that every time I pass on it. Some of those slopes along, and then there are streets that come out, which means I can be hauling ass. I'll end up T-boning a car, or a car is going to come right as I'm hauling ass across that thing and take me out. Either way, I'm dead or severely injured. I drive around UVA's campus. Can I get away with it here? Probably in the summer. I can. Less kids around, less hustle and bustle. I could probably, they got some bike lanes through the campus. I could probably do it there, right? I've been looking and looking and looking, but I never found what I wanted. So then I said to myself, I went, okay, there's got to be a place to rollerblade around here somewhere. Now, I've talked to a couple of people, and they'll go, oh, yeah, you go to that parking lot over there. See, I'm used to the Strand in Southern California. If you've ever seen the sitcom Three's Company, at the beginning when Jack is on a bicycle and he looks back and he falls in the sand, he's on the Strand. And that goes from Malibu all the way through Redondo Beach. It's like 40 miles. I think 40 miles, but I remember that was a good 20 or 25 mile stretch. It was not unusual for me to do the whole Strand, get a bite to eat in Redondo Beach, and come back. Right? And that's like 45, 50 mile rollerblade. Now, I don't need that kind of space anymore, but I need at least a couple of miles that I can repeat. And I've been looking and looking. And then I said to myself, I don't think I'm looking hard enough. So I did what I always do. I went on a place, what's it called? I had it written down here somewhere. I want to say it's called Inline Warehouse. I went to a few different places that sold skates because I didn't have my skates or my pads or anything anymore. And Inline Warehouse, I saw an article that said, oh, yeah, you could try them on. If they don't fit, they return them for free and they'll send you a different pair. So I called them. I said, is that true? And they said, yeah. They said, you could take them out for 90 days. If you don't like them, it's just a 10% restocking fee. It's like, really? All right. I'm never the restock. I would never do that, right? So I looked up the kind of skates I need for the kind of terrain I want and what have you. And I said, okay, I'm getting these kinds of skates and they're going to show up in a couple of days. Now I'm on the clock. I have to find places to skate. Right? And guess what? I did.
Is that where you were driving around neighborhoods the other day?
Yeah, we were having meetings and I was driving all over Charlottesville trying to find places. And sometimes and it was like 100 degrees with 100% humidity. We had a heat wave. And I was like, Chris, I'm getting out of the car. I would literally get out of the car when I found like some area and walk like 1 or 2 miles in a direction to see what's doing and then come back. I hoofed it a lot to try to suss it out. And I found 2 or 3 different places. They're not long. The longest one is just under 2 miles. So there and back would be 4 miles. You do 3-4 laps, what's that? 4, 8, 12, 3 laps, you got 12 miles, right? It goes back to what I'm always saying, where there's a will, there's a way. If you put something in front of you, then you have to do it. Does that make sense?
It does. And in your case, just kind of like with the kayak as well, right? You said, I want to build the kayak this year. What's the first thing or the other project that you've been working on
The
this
train.
year? Yeah. Like it's you're like, all right, I got some parts. Now I need to figure out the rest of it because you have it sitting there in front of you and you've spent money on it. You've put up. So now you need to show up, right? You have that connection.
Remember that movie, Build It and They Will Come? It was a baseball movie.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. Okay, with the kayak, I talked to Joey Schott like 2 or 3 years before because when I first got here, I damaged my kayak, my fiberglass. What was that made of? Carbon fiber. That expensive thing that Stellar Kayaks gave me. I messed it up on the way here. Dave, the kayaker, tells me, hey, you got to go visit Joey Schott. He knows his stuff. I visit Joey. It was during COVID, so we're talking at first. And I just mentioned to him, I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to build a cedar strip kayak. And he goes, well, whenever you're ready. He downplayed this completely. He was like, yeah, I know a thing or two. It's like, really? You've actually built one? He goes, yeah, I know how to build it. I was like, really? He didn't let on to who he was. He's largely considered one of the 2 best kayak builders in the United States and perhaps even in the world. And guess what? He's super good friends with the number 1 guy. But Joey's one of these super talented guys. He was just like, yeah, I could. He used to build them over at Chesapeake Lightcraft, right?
Okay.
I mean, he knows what he's doing. And he was gracious enough to, I would like to say I built my kayak, but that would be a lie. I would still be working on it right now, I'm pretty sure. Because this guy did all the tough stuff. Like if it's like cutting out decks after you've built the whole thing, if I screw that up, you got to go back 100 hours and do a whole new deck. Since he knows how to do it, boom, you just do it. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I learned a lot. And the way we got it done was, I think I've told this story before, but this whole podcast is going to be about motivation, I guess. The way it happened was I was watching the movie Class with Rob Lowe and Jacqueline Bisset. I was watching it because of Jacqueline Bisset. I find her extremely attractive at all ages. And Rob Lowe in that movie drives a red convertible 911 Targa from the early 80s. And I was on my spinner and I'm watching a movie and it's like, you know what? I always said I'm going to get one of those things. And I started romanticizing about, well, Jacqueline Bisset, but that car was just on my mind for the next couple of days. And I was like, I know they've gotten really expensive, those air-cooled Porsches from the 1980s, but I bet I can find one that's in trouble and then get it all fixed up and bring it back to life and do the whole thing. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, am I really a Porsche guy? And the answer is no. You know me, Chris.
I could have told you that. All you had to do was call me.
It's like once you have the Porsche, then what's next? The country club? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works with the Porsche. I look around my neighborhood, nobody else driving a Porsche, right? We're all driving Japanese imports, right?
Do you even fit in a Porsche?
Yeah, of course I do. Do I look good in one? You damn right I do.
Kind of hard not to. If you can squeeze into one, it's kind of hard not to. It's a good looking car.
Yeah, they're good looking cars, but the ones from the 80s are so classic, right? So I was like, yeah. And I was like looking on websites. I was like, oh, I can buy this one for $35,000, more than it costs brand new. And it's a rust bucket. I'll have to get it to a guy to strip it down. And $100,000 later, I'll have myself a Porsche, right? And I was like, wait a minute. I don't really want this. It felt wrong. And I said to myself, what do I really want? Like, if I could just do one thing right now, what do I want? And inevitably, Chris, for me, it never becomes a material thing. And I know what you're going to say. Well, isn't the kayak a material thing?
If that was the goal, but for you, having the kayak is the means to the thing. Does that make sense?
Exactly. It's the way to the end. I like building things. You know, I started a vitamin company from scratch. I wanted to build something, a coffee company from scratch. I'm still trying to figure out how to build a food company. Movies, documentaries, what have you. Right? It's like, okay, I want to go through this process. So how does this work? And folks, it's the same with losing weight. First move, give Joey a call. Joey, how do we make this happen? Joey was excited. He goes, I haven't built a wooden boat in years now. I've been building these. He builds these really high-end things out of basalta negra and carbon fiber, these high-end boats, right? And I was like, I want to build this cedar strip kayak. And we started. We picked a date right after the first of the year. It was my New Year's resolution to start that year. And we did it. We did it. It took 310 hours, but we did it. Right? And that's how we did it. That, you know, it's just 320 hours. I don't want to short sell it.
Does that include drive time or just work
time?
No,
that's when I got there until the time I left. And by the way, I had to drive 90 minutes each way every Saturday. I woke up.
That's why I was asking.
5 o'clock in the morning. I would get there. I would work with all day and then come back. So that's just time with Joey on the boat. The same with the train. I've been talking about a train for 20 years. And my New Year's resolution this year was, I need a train. I didn't know what size. I didn't know what size meant, you know, because depending on which size you get, that, you know, the space has to be at least that big. And once I decided on an HO model train, that's a size, and all of the stuff you have to build around it, I went out to, not a train place, I went out to Lowe's and bought the stuff to make a table. Before I spoke to anyone about a train, I made a train table. And now it's sitting in my office, a 4-foot by 6-foot table with 2 inches of foam core on top of it. Then you have to do something. Or you're looking at a table. You see that table starts talking to you. It's there.
Starts taunting you. Yeah.
Right? So then I went to the train shop, met Brett over at Rail Tales right here in Charlottesville. Met Brett. And Brett's one of the owners. And I was like, Brett, what is it going to take to do this? And he started showing me all these techniques and how to build mountains. And I told him, I said, I want it to look like this. I want to have snow. I want to have a ski slope. I want to have tunnels. I want to have all this stuff. I want a raised area and a lower area. And that's what we have. I have a rock quarry. I got a fucking rock quarry. I'm building. I'm going to have a Christmas tree farm on my train set. Right? The excitement. This thing is not, you've seen pieces and parts of it, Chris. It's not even close to being finished. I thought it would be finished in 6 months. We've been working on this since January. And that's when I built the table. We're past halfway of the year. And I'm not even halfway done. I'm hoping to have it done by Christmas. Right? But it takes a lot of time. It takes effort. You know, when it comes to anything, your body, building a train, building a kayak, or if you want to buy that Porsche and fix it up from scratch, you have to conceive and you have to believe if you want to achieve. Now, I know I just sounded like a black Baptist preacher from the South.
The rule of three.
You got to believe. First, you have to conceive, then believe, and then achieve. That's how everything works. I was talking, all the time when I'm on the phone and I'm talking to a 500-pound person, they'll say to me, I'll mention at some point, well, when we get you down to 160 pounds and they get real quiet, right? Because all they want to do is be out of trouble. And for them, 500 pounds, if they got down to 250, that's half the weight, they would be happy. And I'll say, what's the problem? And they'll go, I've never been 165. And I'll say, oh, yeah, you had to pass it on the way to where you are now.
Now, Vinny, if you're going full preacher, you have to say it right. On the way up. Right? You passed it on the way up. And I think the thing, and you do this intuitively, and I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of people depend on sheer power of will to get there. And you're familiar with the concept of decision fatigue, right? Like famously, Steve Jobs wore the same thing every day because it was one less thing he had to think about. If you leave your diet decisions or your exercise decisions or whatever to willpower, you're always going to fail along the way. What you do intuitively is that conceive, believe, achieve. But really what you do is you sit down and you say, what do I really want? What do I want? What do I really, really want?
Yeah.
Is it I want to fit into my high school bikini? Is it I want to fit, I want to be super in shape for my wedding? What is the ultimate goal? I want to build a kayak, whatever that is. And then you purposely put something in front of you. And in your case, most of the time, you put up some money for something, right? And it's why they say, like, if you put a wager or you gamble on whether you're going to lose weight or not, you're more likely to lose weight, which don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Yeah. But it's the same concept, right? You have buy-in. And so what is that step if people are trying to lose weight? What is that first buy-in step? What is the first thing that people can look at to do? Is it cleaning out the cupboard because now they don't have the option? Like, what is that thing in your mind that takes people from I want to lose weight to I no longer have excuses because I have this in front of me? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I always use Scott King as a great example, right? The great motivation for him was his young daughter was running out into a street. It was a quiet street, but this toddler was running out to the street. He's sitting in a chair at 600 pounds. He can't get out of the chair. Now, nothing happened to his daughter. Eventually, he was able to get to her and get her out of the street. But all he could think about was, I couldn't protect my kid. That man is now running triathlons, right? That's why I love to use him for an example. He had something, and by the way, he had gastric bypass when he was 400. I think he got down to 250. And then he ate through, as I say, they eat through the gastric bypass, and he made it back way past where he was before, back to 600. And that was the point. He could not protect his kids. That weighed heavy on him. That was a deciding factor. It could be anything, right?
But I think the Scott King example, that's kind of like hitting rock bottom, right? You have for lack of a better term, an oh shit moment,
right?
Versus knowing that you want to lose weight. And he knew well before that moment that he wanted.
No, he had given up. he had given up.
He had the gastric bypass, right? So like,
right.
For people who who haven't hit rock bottom yet, what is the thing that you can put in front of you as the way of eliminating the excuse? Because that's really what you're doing when you buy your rollerblades or you buy your
It's kind of like me walking into Lowe's, right? The only information that I had walking into Lowe's was I had to have enough wood to build something that was 4x6. By the way, it didn't have legs on it. I built a 4x6 platform and left it on the. Do people know what sawhorses are nowadays? Those, when I started building the thing, I was still on sawhorses when I started putting the track on it. And then I kept running my legs into the sawhorses. So I went back to Lowe's and bought more wood and built legs on it. Right? So for me, it's as simple as going, I need to do something to start this project because, as you just mentioned, you didn't use this term, but it's the analysis paralysis. And the internet causes a lot more of that these days. People don't start weightlifting routines because they'll go watch this influencer and that influencer and the other guy. And they say about fitness experts, the only thing two fitness experts can agree on is that the third one is wrong about everything. Right? So no matter who you talk to, you're either getting good advice or bad advice, or I always say, just go do something today. Right? As you know, I drove around for months. Well, I casually looked. Like, oh, I'm in this neighborhood, going to someone's house for dinner. I'm looking around. How flat is it here? Is there a sidewalk? What do we got going on here? I was doing that. But it was casual until I plunked down hard money to Inline Skate Warehouse or whatever the hell it's called and got wrist guards, elbow guards, knee guards, and ultimately skates. Right? That's what I did. Now I got close to $500 worth. And by the way, folks, you don't have to spend $500. I used to be a skater 30 years ago. I kind of knew what to get. I know what I can use, and I know what the stuff is, right? So I went a little crazy. Now I'm committed. Tax title license, I'm $425 in. I need to go find a place today because this stuff is showing up, right? You can say, after my birthday, I'll start. You can say, after the Super Bowl, I'm going to start. After Christmas, I'm going to start. In the new year, I'm going to start. You know how many fat people start every Monday? Every GD Monday. They start brand new. I could tell you when it ends. It ends on Wednesday. I know this. I've been working with morbidly obese people for 40 years. Like the song says, they're tired of quitting. Is that how it goes? They already want to stop quitting. Right? You gave it up and now you don't want to do it anymore. The third day is the roughest day. Most people don't get through the third day. The first day, they feel pretty good. You got some resolve. You get to Tuesday, you hop on a scale, you've lost some inflammation. Oh my God, I lost 10 pounds. Look at me. You start doing the 10-pound math. Did that in 2 days. In 20 days, I'll lose. Let's see, 10 times 10. I'll lose 100 pounds in 20 days. They really do that math. Right? And on day 3, guess what? You start getting that flu because your body is starting to ache. You're losing too much water. You didn't pay attention to your water intake. You didn't pay attention to your salt intake. And for whatever reason, your body starts telling you, please, by all means, give me ice cream. Please, by all means, where's the damn pizza? Please, by all means, please give me a carb. And as soon as you eat that carb, you're sitting there. It's like that comfortable shoe. It's like going back to a relationship you know is bad. You ever do that, Chris, when you were younger?
Both with food and with people, right?
Well, Chris, my favorite thing, I used to say this in LA, I dated a lot before I met Serena. And sometimes you would date a girl for X amount of time and then you realize she's not right for you. You don't see her for 6 months or a year. And then you're browsing around Whole Foods, Ralph's, what have you. You run into her. And man, she looks good because it's LA and everyone looks good. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you. Hey, you. Hey, we should get together. And you're sitting there thinking, when you get back in your car, I'm going to call her. I don't know why we broke up. Boy, she's pretty good looking. She's so hot. I can't wait to go out with her again. You can't even remember why you stopped dating. You can only remember the good times. That's the way our brain works, right?
It's exactly the same way with food, right? Like
It's identical.
I don't know. I love sweets, but my crutch is not crappy pizza, but like a 6 or better pizza. If I have a crappy night of sleep and I wake up and I'm craving carbs, it's all I think about all day.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, I can eat it and I'm going to feel really good for the first 3 bites or the first date again. Yeah. And then I'm going to feel like crap and I'm going to remember why I stopped eating it. And I'm going to wake up inflamed, hopefully not with something transmissible. And it's going to be a problem. Right? Yeah. But your body tells you, and actually, Vinny, we don't have time to dive into this today, but maybe the next time we do a Wednesday show, I'll bring it back up. One of the articles that came across my feed this week was talking about how your brain and body has food memory, just like you have memory for scents and smells. And so there's a lot of things that trigger that nostalgia, not just scents and smells, but what did you eat before and after that the last time? And is your body starting to expect that and drive your cravings in that direction? The same thing with people. It's the same thing with every habit that we have. Your body is lazy, right? Your body wants to fall back into whatever routine it is that you are doing. If that is a healthy routine, it's fine to fall back in, right? A day or two off and you're like, damn, I need to go to the gym.
Right.
The negative side of that, though, is it's very easy to fall back into that because your body is literally fighting against you to do it. And that comes back to the willpower thing and making things as easy as possible. I know one of your big philosophies about the gym is you don't have everything at your house, pay for a gym. And even if you don't want to go and do a full workout that day, just walk in the door.
Yeah.
Get over that resistance.
Do one
step. If you've committed to running every morning, put your shoes, your shirt, your shorts next to your bed the night before so that when your feet hit the floor in the morning, it's right there. If what you're trying to do is eat healthier, get the crap out of the house. That's a great first step. And then you have to make several conscious choices to be able to access garbage, right? You and I have talked about one of the reasons I like living in the middle of nowhere, which I do, right? I live in a town, I don't even know. I'd have to look it up. But if we called it 3,000 people, Vinny, that would be a lot. And that's including, the surrounding area. Everybody in all of the stores knows me, not just because I'm the whitest person in town, but because I'm there every 2 days. Right. And we've lived here for 8 months now. And where was I going with that? What was I saying?
Well, you were talking about how easy it is to fall into bad traps.
Oh, so we don't keep anything in the house, right? I mean, we have food, but it's fruit, vegetable, meat. And if I have that craving, there's a series of conscious choices that I have to make. I literally have to either walk 20 minutes into town and hope that a store is open at 7:30 at night.
Right.
Or I have to pay 10% more than I would and hope that somebody will deliver it at 7:30 at night. And even on those days where I'm like, damn, I really want 7 bags of potato chips or whatever the craving is for that day, because it's not easily accessible, you go, I'll have an apple and see how I feel. Or like, I'll eat the leftover steak from yesterday. And then if I still really want the pizza, then we'll order the pizza or whatever.
Right. Well, it's so much easier just to move on if it's just not there. Right. And that's the bigger point here. Right. And, just to go back to what we were saying earlier, people always say, I'm going to quit on Monday. You can, everything can happen right now. Right. Like, I know it sounds gross and terrible and the whole thing, but back when we would all walk around back in the 70s and 80s when you can, it was like free sex, right? If a girl in the club says, hey, I want to have sex with you right now, you didn't go, let's put it on the back burner, maybe next weekend. No, it's like, it's here right now. We're doing this now. It used to kind of be like that. It's the same with diet, right? What are you going to do it next week, the week after? How about right now? Right now. I tell that to people in the consults. It's like, I know you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to blow today out and then start tomorrow. Start now. You paid for this consult, just like I paid for those skates. Just like I went out and paid for that wood and that foam core. Do it right now. Put it in front of you. Now you have to do it. Right? And then the other part is you have to see it through. You have to see it to the end. Right? And when, if I use the train metaphor, I can cheap out at any point and just kind of rush it through and make it look like something. But that's not the exercise here. The exercise is to do it right. Or as I always say in the words of Vince Lombardi, nobody is perfect. But if you strive for perfection, you can land somewhere near excellence. With the train, I'm trying to strive for some kind of perfection in an imperfect thing because you're building a world around it, right? And in that imperfect world, I'm trying to make it perfect. And if I do that every step of the way, I got a feeling I'm going to land somewhere near excellence, right? I'll be proud of the work I did.
For you, and I'm trying to think of how to tie this really into the doing things right. For you, it seems like you have a very clear vision of exactly what you want. So you say, I want a train with a Christmas tree farm with all of these things. It's a very clear goal versus I want to lose some weight. Or even I want to lose 100 pounds. Right?
Right.
Is there a better way to set the goal from a weight loss perspective that is a more real goal? Does that make sense?
Well, I think with the weight loss goal, there should be many goals along the way. And when I say many, I mean MINI, right? Mini, small, like a Mini Cooper. That way you have things to look forward to. When I lose my first 25 pounds, that'll be the same size I was when I was able to fill in the blank, right? And I know that people, I'll have people say, yeah, back when I was 250, I was still able to go out and play basketball with the guys. When I got to 275, I couldn't really do that anymore. Right. So then all I was able to do at 275 was this with my kids. And then I got to 320 pounds and I couldn't do that anymore. So whatever those goals are, when I lose X amount of weight, I'm going to be at the same weight I was when I used to do A, B, C, and D. Make that a goal and start doing A, B, C, and or D. Or it might just be A, right?
The thing I like about that is it's about the experience then, just like it is for you with the kayak. Right? It's about the experience of building the kayak, the experience of building the train, and the time and the memories that you have with the train on the back end. As opposed to a scale victory, which is I lost 100 pounds. Cool, I'm still 400 pounds. right? Like it's
Right.
nice to see the number go down. Don't get me wrong, but the experiential goals along the way. And I think we see that a lot when people say, "Hey, I want to get in shape for a wedding," because
Right.
they want to be able to dance, they want to be able to do those things, and it's not as much about the poundage loss as it is about the experience that comes at the end of that. They want to enjoy the wedding to the full extent of the wedding, and they know they're not going to be able to do that at 250 pounds, but maybe at 200 or whatever it is. So I think focusing on the experience rather than the number itself makes a lot more sense.
Well, look, one of the things I hear from people, and this is a real thing, Chris, they'll say, well, I don't want to lose too much weight because I know how loose my skin gets and I'm not comfortable with that. Well, guess what? There's surgeries for that where they can remove the skin. I remember the first client I took, this was back in the early 90s. I took 200 pounds off of a woman. I was only 5'4", 5'5". And, she had all, like, the skin was like, sheets of skin. The first surgery they did, they took like 25 or 28 pounds of skin off of her. And they had to stop the surgery at that point because you can't remove that much of an organ without screwing up. And then she had to recuperate from that, wait 6 or 8 months or whatever, went in for a second surgery, and they took another 15 pounds of skin off or something like that or whatever. She did it in steps. And I think insurance paid for some of that because they were able to show how this is a problem, unhealthy and whatever. The woman got her body back. Okay, so she had scars underneath her arm. You couldn't see it really because it was like underneath, right around the tricep. And she had scars down her lats, right? You couldn't see it because she wore clothes or whatever, right? She had on her butt, at the bottom of your ass on both sides, it was like a smiley cut, and then down the hamstring. And they had ways of tightening up all of the skin. And the woman was able, she started cycling, she started running, she was doing things like sometimes she would get to the end of a run or a long hike or whatever and tear up. She would tear up because I never thought I could do this. I never thought this could be me. Right. And when people go, what's in it for you? It's like that's in it for me. That's what's in it for me. That's why I don't mind doing it for free on the internet and helping the Scott Kings of the world and the Tim Mallions. I'm mentioning the names I know. And Kim wrote to me the other day. She goes, you were wrong about David Bowie. I talked about David Bowie and Let's Dance, the Let's Dance song. Was that with you or with Anna? I think it was Anna.
It was with Anna.
A lot of people tell me I'm wrong about David Bowie and the song Let's Dance, but I'm not. That's not his best work, even though Stevie Ray Vaughan does the guitar lick in that. So that's the deal here today, folks. Put things in front of you. By the way, I got out on my skates for about 45 minutes today, right in the cul-de-sac in front of my house.
How'd that go?
It went very well. I didn't fall. I thought I would fall because I haven't skated in 30 years.
Is it kind of like riding a bike?
A little bit. I got 110 wheels, the big giant wheels. They're super fast because the areas I'm going to have to skate in has a lot of debris. So I can't use like 80s, so I have the 3 wheels and they're really big comical wheels, and they're very fast. Everything I read on said these are very fast skates. As a matter of fact, they're kind of professional. Like they don't come with a brake. I literally had to order a brake separately to put on. So I'm putting a brake on until I get used to the areas. I'd rather have that option of being able to stop. So that's where I am. I went for 45 minutes. I just went in circles and twirls and circles, went down the street a little bit, and felt good. One of the neighbor kids came out and said, hey, do a trick. I said, the trick is that I didn't fall yet. So get back in the house and shut up. Snotty-nosed kid. do a trick. Trick is that I'm 63. I'm doing this.
The whole thing is a trick.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to stop it right there, Chris. We did an ad, right? We did an ad for the vitamin company.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Somebody else wrote to me. They want to advertise on the show, and I don't let advertisers in very often, but I'm looking at it. He sells pots and pans or something out of Europe. I don't know. I'm the only guy that turns down. I get hundreds and hundreds of requests every week. As you know, it's like, nah, I'd rather just tell people about my vitamins, my coffee, my foods, all that kind of stuff.
It's good quality stuff at a good price.
Yeah.
If he's making the Lexus of pans at a Toyota price.
I told him, I said, look, I'll talk to you. We'll talk. I'll see what you got. As you know, over the years, very few, Squatty Potty was one of my favorite products. I still use mine. No, Rob, you can't have a Squatty Potty. Go get your own. I'm not bringing one over to your house. I use mine. We've had, I think at the beginning, we had, what was that running shoe company? We had a running shoe company for a while. We had all those buy beef online companies. But, they all disappoint me at some point. The only people that don't disappoint me is me. So that's why I tell people about the vitamins. All right, Chris. You know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner. It puts a little coal on the fire. It gets my train down the track. We're able to keep this show free for a gazillion years in a row. On behalf of Chris Shaffer, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with just a little bit more of Mr. Rupert